Still battling the lemon balm. A note to any of you out there, yes, lemon balm is very useful. It's very good for you. Tastes lovely. Good shot of the generator there. But once you put it in, you're not getting it out. So we have the view of the east garden from the front porch this morning after our thunderstorm last night. Morning glories apparently loved it. Things are blooming so nicely here in this flower bed. I will put more flowers in it next year. My little herb corner is doing well. But the rosemary, the thyme kind of got flattened to the ground behind the rosemary. That sage is going like gangbusters. Lavender has not bloomed. I think it's been just a little too wet for the lavender. We'll talk about very lackluster squash production here in a bit. I am still battling the lemon balm. A note to any of you out there, yes, lemon balm is very useful. It's very good for you. Tastes lovely. Good shot of the generator there. But once you put it in, you're not getting it out. Okay, so let's talk with squash production. This is the only plant that has actually produced any squash. This is yellow squash. Straight neck, if I recall correctly. And I think it's because of the sunlight. I think where I have my bales set up, that apart from the tomatoes, we're not getting enough light. These are the beans. They are being attacked by some kind of insect, and I'll spray neem oil. We do have some flowers and some buds there, and we did have some buds knocked off by the storm. But I'll spray with neem oil tonight. I've also got to spray the raspberries. I was real disappointed in the radish production, but I think it got too hot too fast. Probably only have a few radishes left in this box, but the marigolds are loving it. And here's the little sugar sweet watermelons. And we actually have some little sugar sweet watermelons starting to develop. One there, and then what I'm calling the twins right there. And that's probably too blurry, but there are two of them. And masses of blooms and little tiny melons starting to develop at the ends of the masses of the blooms. So we're getting really good pollination. Although I am a little bit concerned. Last year we had plenty of honeybees. This year the bumblebees are doing the pollination. Got my second tomato getting red there. Already eaten the first one. It was delicious. This is the heirloom beefsteak tomato. The hybrid tomatoes are producing well. My trellising system is going to make it a little bit hard to get to some of the tomatoes. For example, this one. And we have more tomatoes coming along. You can see through the netting. And we had a sucker on the first hybrid that had gotten pretty large, so I'm trying the old farmer's trick where you pull the stem down, secure it to the dirt, and it grows roots, and we have another plant all its own. The semi-determinate celebrity has one large tomato on it and lots of blooms. Now these are the squash that are only producing male flowers. And one of the reasons that you only get male flowers on squash is because there's insufficient sunlight. So that's what we have right here. We're covered up with male flowers. The bumblebees are visiting them, but they have no female flowers to pollinate. It's another male flower. So next year, I have a plan. All gardeners always have a plan for next year, don't they? We have gourds. And I'm doing the pantyhose sling for right now. That'll have to turn into the old t-shirt strip sling as they get larger, because I have read that they can get so large that they fall off the vine before they grow to maturity. So we have gourds. I'm still just totally enamored with the gourds. But next year, this is going to be the conga line of tomatoes in buckets. And this area right here, which gets plenty of sun during the day, is going to be a line of at least 6 straw bales. It's going to interfere somewhat with my clothesline, but I have a thought about that anyhow, to keep my clothesline, because I don't have a clothes dryer, and so of course clothesline is how I handle outdoor drying of my clothes in the summertime. Plenty of bumblebees here in the deciduous azalea. Like I said, I'm seeing lots of bumblebees, and they must be our primary pollinators, although at night for the gourds it's supposed to be moths, and so apparently the moths are doing their job. This has been a really interesting and successful experiment. Like I said, next year, since I already have this trellis in place, this is going to be the conga line of tomatoes in buckets in full sun. And this area is going to be a raised bed, but I believe it's going to be for flowers next year. West Shade Garden just loved the rain. And I'm still saying, anybody who wants some ferns, if you're local, come on over here with your shovel. I'll help you dig them up. This asparagus fern in this pot is supposed to start having a mounding and tumbling action. I'm waiting on tumbling. Last week, I let my poor little Japanese painted ferns dry out, and I had some dieback. So I got to watering over here, and then we had the storm, and they're pretty tough little plants. I think they'll come on back. These foxgloves are going to be spectacular next year, I just know it. My little morning outside space, the west sun makes that just really, really hot in the afternoon. But under my little cover there in the mornings, it's just lovely. And here's the view of the front of the porch. Bay tree there next to that 4x4 post. Ornamental sweet potato vine. The fuchsia. Behind that, a tiny little water garden. It's sitting on my grandma's wrought iron table. My hodgepodge broadcasting of seeds. And over here, this straw bale has flowers and ornamental sweet potato vine. As it rots and drops, it will become a raised bed and for next year. And since I have read that strawberries can totally take over a plot, pardon the train in the background, this will become my little strawberry patch, and they can completely take it over. I have our little morning glories peeking over the fence there. Nature's so awesome.